There comes a point when you stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and you start asking, "What am I not seeing?" Because deep down you already feel it. You're not lost. You're not broken. You're not lazy or weak. You're just standing in front of a mirror that's been covered in fog for years. And now, finally, you're starting to wipe it clean. Carl Jung said, "Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes." Most people never awaken. They chase success, chase approval, chase everything outside themselves. But they never stop to ask, who am I really? Not who you pretend to be on social media, not who your parents wanted you to be, not even who you think you should be, but who you are, beneath it all. The truth is, we all wear masks. We wear the good student mask, the tough guy mask, the always happy mask. But masks come with a cost. Carl Jung called it the shadow. The part of you that gets pushed down, hidden, and rejected. It's the anger you never express, the sadness you pretend isn't there, the strength you don't believe you're allowed to have. And here's the twist. The more you suppress your shadow, the more it controls you. You think you're in charge, but really, you're being pulled by invisible strings. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." That's not just philosophy. It's your daily life. The toxic relationship you keep going back to. The job you secretly hate, but can't leave. The dreams you talk about, but never chase. They're all echoes of what you haven't faced inside. But here's the good news. Awareness changes everything. When you finally see the pattern, it starts to lose power. When you see the wound, you begin to heal. When you stop running from your shadow, you find your strength. Most people fear the shadow because they think it makes them bad. But Jung saw it differently. He believed the shadow holds your greatest potential. Because the parts of you you've buried, they're not just pain, they're power. The anger you suppress could be fuel for setting boundaries. The sadness you hide could lead to deeper empathy. The ambition you deny could finally get you moving. Carl Jung said, "In each of us, there is another whom we do not know." Your journey is to meet that other, not to judge them, not to destroy them, but to understand, to integrate, to become whole. You were never meant to be perfect. You were meant to be real. And real people feel deeply. Real people fail and rise again. Real people carry wounds and still move forward. If you've been feeling stuck, like no matter how hard you try, you just keep hitting the same wall, maybe it's not because you're doing something wrong. Maybe it's because you've only been using half your power. You've been trying to move forward while rejecting the parts of you that are actually trying to help. Your fear isn't your enemy. Your doubt isn't your weakness. They're messages, signals. They're saying, "Look at me, hear me, I'm part of you." The moment you stop fighting your inner world and start listening, everything shifts. You become grounded. You become focused. You become powerful in a way that doesn't need to prove anything. Because your power is no longer borrowed from others. It comes from within. If no one ever told you this, let me be the first. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not broken. You are becoming. Transformation looks messy in the middle. Confusion is part of the path. And real growth often feels like falling apart. But you're not falling apart. You're shedding layers. Old beliefs. Outdated stories. Roles that were never yours to play. What's emerging is the real you. The you that's no longer hiding. The you that no longer needs validation to feel worthy. The you that walks with quiet confidence because it comes from within. Now let me ask you something. When was the last time you trusted yourself? Not just followed a plan, not just ticked a box, but truly listened to your own inner voice. There is wisdom in you that no one else can give. A compass that can't be copied. And it's waiting for you to stop running and start listening. Carl Jung said, Your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes. This awakening is not a one-time event. It's a daily practice. A moment-to-moment choice. And it starts with honesty. When you're honest with yourself, you stop chasing things that don't align. You stop people-pleasing out of fear. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You show up as you, and you give the world permission to do the same. Now, if this message is waking something up in you, don't let it go back to sleep. Hit the like button. Leave a comment with one truth you've discovered about yourself. And make sure you're subscribed so this journey doesn't end here. We're just getting started. Most people believe healing is about fixing what's broken. But Carl Jung saw healing as becoming whole. You are not a broken object to be repaired. You are a soul unfolding. Healing means reclaiming the parts of you that were exiled, the parts you were told were too much, too sensitive, or too different. But those parts are not your flaws. They are your fire. Carl Jung said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." You don't have to be a prisoner of your past. You don't have to keep replaying the same story. You can rewrite it, right here, right now. And that story starts with ownership. No more blaming, no more waiting, no more hoping someone else comes to save you. You are the author now. You get to decide who you become. It begins when you look at your pain without flinching. Not because it's easy, but because you're strong enough to face it. The truth is, growth demands discomfort. You have to leave behind comfort zones. You have to say goodbye to versions of yourself that once felt safe. And yes, that's scary. But on the other side of that fear is freedom. Real freedom. The kind of freedom that doesn't need approval. The kind that doesn't crumble when life gets hard. The kind that stands tall because it's rooted in truth. Carl Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Not who society tells you to be, not who gets the most likes, but who you are when everything is stripped away. That's where your peace lives. That's where your purpose starts. People will try to pull you back into their expectations, into their fears, into their version of success. But when you know yourself, their noise loses power. You walk differently when you trust your own steps. You speak differently when you're not afraid of silence. You live differently when you're not trying to escape yourself." This is the essence of Jung's message. You don't find meaning, you create it. You don't discover yourself like a hidden object. You build yourself through conscious action, through intention, through truth. So ask yourself, what parts of me have I abandoned? What gifts have I been hiding? What truth have I been avoiding? That's where your journey begins. Not in a book, not in a seminar, but in the quiet moment where you finally choose to stop running. In that stillness, you hear it. The voice within. The one that whispers, "You were meant for more." Not more attention, not more noise, but more alignment, more depth, more meaning. This is the inner path, the one few take, because it doesn't promise shortcuts, but it does promise something better. It promises clarity, it promises power, it promises peace. Not a peace that comes from avoiding conflict, but a peace that comes from inner congruence, where your thoughts, your words, and your actions are all aligned. You're no longer torn between what you feel and what you pretend. You become one whole person. That's true strength. And yes, it's a process. There will be days when you fall back. When the old you resurfaces. That's normal. But each time you return to truth, you grow stronger. Each time you choose awareness over autopilot, you reclaim power. Each time you face your fear and keep moving, you transform. Carl Jung said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain, but there is no staying unconscious without suffering." Choose your pain wisely. The pain of growth is temporary. The pain of denial lasts forever. Right now, you're being invited to level up, to stop settling, to stop shrinking, to stop betraying yourself just to fit in. Because you were not made to blend in. You were made to become a force, and that force starts within. It starts with honesty. It starts with courage. It starts with choice. You can keep pretending, keep numbing, keep distracting yourself with noise, or you can go inward, face yourself, meet your shadow, and finally, set yourself free. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to take the next step, and then the next. Truth by truth, choice by choice. You become someone new, not by adding more, but by removing what's not you. That's how it works, not overnight, but over time, with intention, with love, with discipline. Carl Jung didn't give us a map. He gave us a mirror, and the courage to look inside. Take that courage with you. Let it guide you. Let it shape you. And remember, this journey is not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming fully you.